What's up, guys? So I recently made a DC Talk episode on my thoughts for Shin Megami Tensei 5 and its potential to do extremely well sales-wise. My thoughts have not changed, but on the comment section of this video, I saw a bunch of interesting comments that gave me the idea for this video. Is there a possibility for Shin Megami Tensei 5 to outsell Persona 5 Vanilla? You guys might know already, but if you don't, I'm currently doing a giveaway on the channel for a 100 subscribers special, and it's for a free copy of Catherine Full Body on the Nintendo Switch or a Steam code for Persona 4 Golden. The giveaway winner will be announced on the 7th of July. To enter, it's easy. All you gotta do is be subscribed to the channel and click the link in the description below to register. Good luck, and now onto today's video. The first thing that I want to talk about in this video is the install base that SMT 5 will release on versus the install base that Persona 5 Vanilla released on. Persona 5 came out in Japan September 2016 on the PlayStation 3 and on the PlayStation 4 as well. For the PlayStation 3, I found one reliable site that stated that the system sold approximately 87.4 million units as of March 2017, which was a few months after the release of P5. For the PlayStation 4, the console passed 50 million as of December 2016, which was a few months after the release of Persona 5. What that means is that Persona 5 came out on an install base of roughly 137.4 million. That number is an approximation, of course, so obviously my numbers are not exact, but they still give a good idea of where the game launched. Now for Shin Megami Tensei 5, as of the recording of this video, we have no clue when the game will release, so it's hard to tell how many systems will be on the market as far as the Nintendo Switch goes. What I want to do is to have a good comparison, and I want to look at the current sales of the Nintendo Switch since its release, do an average, and calculate how many Switch hardware will be on the market once SMT 5 releases. To do that, I will need to use a date, which I think is likely for the release of SMT 5, and I will choose holiday 2023 as a release date. It might be too soon. Hey, it's Atlus, it might even be a miracle and it's too late, but that's the date that I think it's a good bet. So the Nintendo Switch launched in 2017, and as of recording this video, the last sales number that I found were that the hardware sales are at 55.77 million units worldwide, and those numbers are from March 21st, 2020. Since the game has been out for 3 years, that gives us a rough number of 18.59 million units sold every year since the console launched. If Nintendo keeps this momentum, and if SMT 5 launches as speculated in this video, in 2023, the Switch would be at around 111.54 million hardware sold when the game launches. Taking all of that into consideration, just a moment, gotta drink that LeBlanc Cafe. So if you take all of that into consideration, Persona 5 launched on an install base of 137.4 million, and Shin Megami Tensei approximately would launch on an install base of 111.54 million units. So there is a 25.86 million additional players that would have been able to pick up Persona 5 at launch than SMT 5. Of course, I know you don't need to tell me in the comments. I know that everything that I just calculated is speculations since we don't know when the game will release, and I did a lot of averages for the numbers for consoles. So, of course, it's an approximation, but that still gives us a pretty good idea. And what that makes me think is that SMT 5, just as Persona 5, will be releasing on an LT install base, on an LT console with a bunch of systems on the market. So, it definitely has the potential to do well again. Another thing that I want to touch on is the mainstream appeal of Persona versus Shin Megami Tensei. I received a comment on my Shin Megami Tensei 5 as potential video from a guy named Seppi Nova. And I told him, while replying to his comment, I told him that his comment was super interesting, and that's the comment that gave me the idea for this video. I'll state a part of his comment since it's so relevant to this video that I'm making right now. So I state, The reason why Persona 5 sold so well is that P5 reached an audience that usually doesn't play JRPGs. And every time I hear this audience talking about Persona 5 and why they decided to try it out and recommend it to others, the answer is always the same. That slice of life type of gameplay outside of traditional JRPG combat and dungeons, that's a completely new type of gameplay experience for a lot of people, and they loved it and enjoyed the story even though they didn't care about the combat or dungeons. Shin Megami Tensei is more traditional JRPGs without those similar selling points for non-JRPG fans that P5 has. So the majority of the new audience that P5 reached still doesn't know or even care about the connection between SMT and Persona. And if any of the non-JRPG fans decide to get SMT5, they'll be disappointed to find out how different the game is compared to P5. So there won't be similar word-to-mouth marketing pushing the sales among non-JRPG fan audience. Quote. So to summarize his opinion, which with almost everything that was said in the comment, by the way, he says that Persona 5 has a mainstream appeal that SMT5 doesn't have. We're already talking about the aesthetics of the game here, the music, the characters, the gameplay where you live your everyday life, you play through social links, etc. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is more of an hardcore RPG where you don't necessarily have all the elements that makes a Persona game so appealing to the different people, casual gamers, if I can say that, to the mainstream audience. Now, another thing that I want to tackle is the past sales of both series. So what are the sales for Persona? What are the sales for SMT in general? So I found some interesting numbers online, and the Persona series sold over 10 million units as of last year, and the first game in the franchise came out in 1996. The Shin Megami Tensei series sold over 12 million units as of 2018, so a bit more, but the first game in the franchise came out 9 years before, 1987. So the sales of the Persona series have more momentum since the series started 10 years after SMT, and in 2020 the sales of both series are really close. And of course we know that the last few titles in the Persona series sold extremely well. So if we take P4, P4G and Persona 5 Royal, well, we don't really know for Royal yet, but P5 sold by itself close to 3 million. It's probably at 3 million units sold at this point, so definitely a high score for Atlus here. And what I wanted to get at is basically, what does that mean for the question of this video, you'll ask? Well, taking into consideration the overall sales of both franchises, we can see that Persona games have a tendency to sell a bit more than SMT games. Plus, Persona 5 came out on a bigger install base that SMT 5 probably will. And of course, we just talk about the fact that Persona games will always attract more of the mainstream audience, or I could use the expression of more casual gamers, than Shin Megami Tensei 5 ever will, in my opinion. With all of that into consideration, I don't think SMT 5 will sell more copies than Persona 5, but since SMT is a major franchise that's been going for a bunch of years now, I think its niche audience from the Megaten community will still be picking up the game once it comes out. If I have to make a prediction, I think SMT 5, as I said in my last video, has the potential to be the best-selling mainline Shin Megami Tensei game to date. If I had to put a number on the game, I would say 1.5 million. It's definitely a 1 million seller on the Switch, I'm sure. Of course, it depends on everything depends on how Atlus decides to market to do their marketing campaign for the game. If they push it like they did for Persona 5, my number's probably right. If they decide to just leave it be, which I'd be surprised, honestly, well, it might be more around the 800, 900,000 copies sold, which is still pretty good. So those are my thoughts, guys, on whether or not I think Shin Megami Tensei 5 could sell more copies than Persona 5. Now, I'm super curious. What do you guys think? Can Shin Megami Tensei 5 outsell Persona 5? If you disagree with me, that's fine, basically, that's fine. But please let me know why you think I'm wrong so we can discuss it in the comment sections below. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. Again, if you want to stay up to date on anything Atlus, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Persona, please click that subscribe button. And if you like the video, please give me your thumbs up. That really helps to support the channel. See you next time.